All right, welcome to Unscripted. I'm Kendall, and we are switching some things up tonight. And Tasha and I have swapped roles. She is behind the scenes today, and I am up hosting tonight, and I am truly excited to introduce tonight's guest. I have known her for many, many years, and her story is truly inspirational. So we're very excited to have Lisa Larson on from Rooted 23, and I will turn the mic over to her so she can kind of tell us about herself.
Well, thank you guys for having me here. It is an honor.
It truly is ours too.
Again, she said I'm Lisa Larson, and I just am truly here to share my story and hope that others will follow suit, because it is truly, when you think about mental health, everybody has it. It does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter monetarily. Everybody has some kind of issues or mental health that is just, that's how we're made. We're humans. So,
100%, yeah.
But I'm going to start with just kind of sharing a little bit of my history and my background. I'm originally from Ethan, South Dakota, and I grew up in a family of 11. Fantastic family, faith-based farmers. I can't say anything really horrible about my growing up. So I'm your typical person. I mean, average Joe, worked hard. We were taught to work hard. We learned to share. We lived in the country, so I was a country girl, not a city slicker. But we just were, we had everything we needed to survive, but we were never over the top.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It sure does.
But from, growing up, everything was your typical person until I started getting into the high school era and the age where you start thinking about, comparing yourself to everybody else and wanting to fit in. And I didn't dabble a whole lot into the alcohol, but I did during the summer because we always had training rules. So, in high school and stuff, I played basketball, I was a cheerleader and track. When you're in a small school, you just do all the things. And so no way was I going to get caught.
Of course not.
But I did dabble. And once I got out of high school, then hit the college age, we hung out with people that drank all the time. That was kind of the social aspect. Drinking where before it got to a major crisis. Again, like I said, all of our friends drank. And I ended up staying home with my kiddos, and then I would visit with some of these friends, and she'd be like, well, I'm having a glass of wine. And so then I was like, oh, well, then I guess I can too at noon.
Yeah, absolutely, just one.
Well, everybody else stopped at one, but not me.
Yeah.
I have an addictive personality. I'm very highly aware of that. So I didn't stop, and I spiraled. And drinks started with one. Next drink would be vodka hidden all over the house, 24/7, 365 days of the year for 4 straight years. And my husband was very, very, very supportive. At that time, I also had a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And I'm guessing on the ages, but they were young. They had never seen me drink. They never saw me drunk, thank goodness. But my husband, not being familiar with addiction, because he doesn't have any issues with that.
Right.
He's like, most people are like, well, why can't you just stop? why can't you put a lid in the jug? And when you have an addictive personality like I do, you can't.
It's hard to stop once you start.
Well, it just becomes it's a habit.
It's just habit.
It's a habit. So those people that are in, thinking of an addiction, they may crave chocolate, or they may think they need a coffee in the morning. All these things that are kind of an addiction. However, they don't change your way of thinking or the choices you make. You might get a little agitated because you don't have your coffee, but they don't make you make the bad choices that I was making and putting other people's lives in danger. I would drive my kiddos to and from school under the influence. And again, I thought everybody else was kind of doing the same thing.
Right. It was a habit at that point, and you're like, well, nothing's happened yet, so
no,
it's fine.
And I to this day have still not had any issues with DUI, DWI, any of those kinds of things. Probably should have. Maybe it would have taught me a lesson, but it didn't, thankfully.
Right.
So it just became, and it became a constant. And I would be considered a functional drunk. If you're not familiar with that, that is somebody that can do all the things, be there, be present, and just keep that steady drinking, drunk feeling, and still do all the things. So very few people knew or had any idea that this was all happening and how bad it was getting. Close friends, maybe, they would talk to Jeff and say something, I think she needs to get help. But again, nobody knows how to start with it.
Nobody, yeah.
And the questions are like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make her mad. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. And it was just, and I'm sitting here back in my mind looking back, and I'm like, why didn't somebody just slap me upside the head? Like wake up. Right. And I think they did. But I just, I'm a pretty strong-willed person. I thought, yeah, I can control it. I'll stop. I can stop tomorrow. That didn't happen. So as time progressed, my husband was getting pretty frustrated. And so we're looking at probably, like I said, 4 years of, and when I talk about 24/7, I'm talking, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would chug vodka, and I would go for a run. I've always been a runner, and I love to run. I still love to run. It's part of me. And I would drink 2 big shots of vodka, go run 6 miles, come back, a couple more shots of vodka. I had it hidden all over the house. I had it in water bottles. I had it in my car. And I had it everywhere. And I thought I was so sneaky until I'd go to look for that bottle. And Jeff had thrown it out, or it was gone, or it was empty, or it was water in there, and I'd take a big swig. Because even to this day, I still like the burn of things going down. I try not to drink Diet Coke anymore, but I love that burn. And that's just a part of my addiction. It is still there. I can drink things so fast. It's insane. So once Jeff was getting very frustrated, we decided that I probably needed to seek some kind of help. So I did a little bit of outpatient dabbling in my hometown, and I tried to go to AA, but I didn't understand what the whole purpose was, and I didn't understand everything, and I was trying to help myself, not really knowing where to turn, and I also knew I needed to probably stop drinking. So 3 times I tried to detox on my own. All 3 of those times left me with massive seizures. And when you talk about massive seizures, they are the excruciating sweating, seeing things. I would hallucinate, shaking. Unfortunately, 2 of them happened at a grocery store. One was at a grocery store, one was at Menards. Both of them bought me a free ride to the ER in Mitchell, where I had fantastic care. And no one ever judged me, but it still didn't sink. it still did not sink in. I still could not break that habit. I'd be good for 2 or 3 days and it would just sneak right in. And I can't tell you why. I don't know why. I wish I could. But it's evil. It is, when they say a demon, it's a demon.
It truly is.
It is so controlling and so powerful. And when you're under that influence, you don't know how to make correct decisions. As much as I wanted out of there, I didn't know how to get out of there. Mm-hmm. And so I just, I'm going to be like, I'm going to stop tomorrow. I'm going to stop tomorrow. And then I'd try. And then all of a sudden the sweats would start sinking in. And then I'd start getting the shakes again. And I was like, I got to have something. And so the 3 times that I ended up in the ER, with the massive seizures, again, it was the frothing at the mouth and hitting my head on the floor. However, the last one that I had happened to be on Thanksgiving Day, and we had our family meal and gathering, and my family had left, and I was going to put up the Christmas lights, and which is typically what I do because I love to work hard. And no one does it as well as me, of course. So I had to put them up because they had to be. That's another habit of mine, is I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I had to make sure all the lights were correct, and I tried not to drink that day, and I could feel it. I could feel the seizure was coming on. And the next thing I know, I can see these little gnomes in the trees, and they're laughing at me and joking around and staring at me and pointing at me. And I was like, man, I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling good. So I went into the house, and there I proceeded to have a really massive seizure in front of my 3 boys. And again, like I had said, they were very young, 12 and 10 and 8. I may be mixing up the ages, but it doesn't matter. Too young. And they watched me as my husband was taking a knife and trying to keep me from choking on my tongue, which will not happen. You will not choke on your own tongue. No. But I was seizing, and he didn't know what to do. So I was chomping on a knife. I had hit my head. I had a couple teeth already missing. I was gushing blood on the back of my head, and my kiddos are watching. Wow. And I can remember seeing them and their little eyeballs staring at me, and they didn't know what to do. And it was the most painful moment. So my husband did not want to pay for another ambulance ride because I'd had already so many of them. And he piled me into the vehicle, and I went to the ER, and it was decided that I would seek 30-day treatment. And so I did take them up on that, and they did find me a place, which was in Tallgrass, which is in Tea, South Dakota here.
Yes, yeah.
So just outside of town, and phenomenal care. They taught me so many things that I guess and I don't know if I'm able to talk about faith on here a whole lot, but
Go for it.
I grew up in a Catholic family, obviously, 11 kids in the family. So faith has always been very, very prominent. However, I never used it correctly. I had faith, and I have faith, but I always prayed to God to save me, and never prayed to God for the good He's given me, or thanked Him, or gratitude. It was always like, please, 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 Lord, help me get out of this mess I'm in. I won't drink tomorrow. Please save me. Please help me. And that is the one thing that Tallgrass and AA has really taught me. AA kind of gets a bad rap on certain things, but it also taught me so much about prayer and taking time to relax and cultivate in your head the thoughts that are going on before you react. I learned some fantastic skills there, fantastic people. 12 to 13 people stay there. It's kind of like a big lodge type of thing. They feed you really well, and in that time frame, of course, you're not drinking, so you're consuming a lot of sugar. Lots of sugar, and they feed you well. And that went fantastic. Being away from my boys was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But I knew they were in great care, and with the large family that I have, and always had such a great support system. But it was humiliating. It was terribly humiliating to be there. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want Jeff to tell anybody. And I knew when I got out, I didn't want to see anybody. because the stigma is there.
And almost put a cloud of shame over your head.
Absolutely.
One, I'm sure you realized down the way wasn't actually there.
No. Well, the other thing is, if I've said it before, I'm a very determined, stubborn human and a perfectionist. And I failed. Couldn't stop drinking on my own. I needed to reach out for help. And to me, that was like a failure. And it was a very hard thing to get over. And I still struggle with those kinds of things anyway. I mean, I still do. I mean, I'm still a perfectionist, but I'm learning to handle those things better in my sobriety. So I did get out, and mind you, it was 30-day stay. So I went on Thanksgiving Day. I should have stayed past Christmas, but because I was doing so well, I was able to go home on Christmas Eve and surprise my boys.
I remember that day, or that week when you got to come home.
Yeah, because I was working my kiddos went to the same school that you had attended and your mom had worked at. And so the staff there did very well at taking care of my boys. And I always compliment them because I don't know what I would have done not knowing that they had the faith there and the guidance and the support from those families and those teachers to know and just keep their norm as could be while I was gone. So I'm so grateful for that atmosphere that they had. So once I got out, while you're in treatment, you're there and you are in a safe place. There's no booze there. There's no nothing there. Now, mind you, there's hand sanitizer there. We did have a lady that struggled with hand sanitizer, and she was consuming it. So they had to remove the hand sanitizer. But you're safe. I don't have to worry about any alcohol being anywhere. I don't have to worry about, it being thrown on my face or other people drinking it or having any issues. So once you get out, you're on your own. And the other thing I had to worry about is, what if Jeff Larson doesn't like Lisa Larson? Because the only thing we have known, we've known each other and we drank and we socialized. And I'm not saying our relationship was built on that,
right? But
all of our friends were all of that, all of my camaraderie, all the things we did. We travel together. I mean, you do all these things, and that's, at that age level, I mean, the social atmosphere was to party.
It wasn't uncommon, yeah.
And we all had, kids around the same age, but they could control it, and I couldn't. So angry at them. I'm like, why can't I just have one? Why do I have to be ready? Why? I did, and I still do sometimes, have a little gut-wrenching feeling at the people that can just have one drink.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you don't know how lucky you are. You really don't. I mean, you really don't. And I know it's booze. Who the hell cares?
Right.
Who cares? But when you can't have it, I think it just makes it worse.
It just makes it harder.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just. So there was a lot of things and a lot of dynamics that all come into play. Also, just getting my family, my mom and dad. They are older. Right now, my dad is 92. So that if that tells you anything, I have 15 years sobriety. So at the time, he would have been, 77? And growing up in their age bracket, talking about addiction and those kinds of things just doesn't happen. So I was very, very scared about what they were going to think about me. Why? Don't have a clue, because nobody gave a rat's patootie. I mean, at all. I mean, I thought everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, Lisa Larson, blah, blah, blah. In hindsight, most of them didn't even know I went anywhere. I'm like, that was kind of a bummer, because I'm like, shoot, I thought they were all going to miss me, and they didn't even know I was gone. So it was like, you think you're going in there and you're like all the talk of the town, and that's so not true. The one thing I found was the people that did know only wanted me to be better. And there was anything different than that. So as the time passed, I did the 90 and 90, where they want you to go to an AA meeting once a day for 90 days. And I followed through with that, and I did all the things. And after that had been up, I had a relapse. If you're not familiar with that, then I took a drink. And again, knowing that I had let so many people down, I did not want to look at my husband in the eyes. didn't want to look at anybody in the face because I knew that I just really destroyed a lot of things. And what made me drink that day? I don't know. I don't even know. It does. I mean, that's the whole thing. Exactly. And it's like I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember how I got the booze. I just remember drinking it. And then when I ran out, um, the things you learn, I resorted to rubbing alcohol and hand sanitizer and NyQuil, anything I could get my hands on. And I was pretty much a mess. By the time my husband got home, he knew I had been drinking, and we also had a breathalyzer. So before I went into treatment, that was something he would check me with, was the breathalyzer, and he didn't even have to get it out. He knew by the look on my face, and I was humiliated and I felt terrible. So the next step was I just needed to not be here. I knew that I had really let him down. So I had just refilled my Xanax, which is an anxiety med, will not harm you, even taken in large quantities. But I didn't know. I didn't dabble in anything. I took Tylenol maybe once in a while, but alcohol was my drug of choice. And so I took the whole bottle and grabbed my rosary. And again, like I had said before, I love to run. And I went and laid on the treadmill and was just waiting and begging for him to take me. And I cried and I pleaded. And the next thing I know, Jeff's up above me. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And he was screaming at me and yelling at me. And I'm like, "I just don't want to be here anymore. And I just don't want to be here." And what gets a person in that state of mind, I couldn't tell you. But it was the darkest place I've ever been, and it happened in a second. Now, I'm not going to lie, I hadn't thought about that previously, and guns came to my mind, but I knew that taking the drugs would be less messy. I didn't want Jeff to have to clear it up, or my kids see that. So I ended up, he took me to the hospital, and again, and it was definitely decided that they were not going to pump my stomach. And I was like, I didn't want them to because I just wanted to die. Well, it didn't matter. So it just made me more hyper and more crazy and more off the wall. I couldn't sit on the toilet because I was bouncing all over the place, and they had me in the ICU. And I don't remember a lot of it. I do remember a very fantastic nurse. Her name is Jenny Yager. And I call her my ICU nurse, and she laughed at me and talked to me, but she never laughed. I shouldn't say laughed at me. She laughed with me. Apparently I was a comedian of some kind. I said I never slept, but she said, "You slept a lot." I don't remember a lot of that. I remember some family members coming to see me, and that gave me a free ride over to Avera Behavior Health, where I stayed for 8 days. Never in a million years did I ever think I would be on the psych ward for suicide. Not in a million years. It's the deepest, darkest place I've ever been. And I wish it upon nobody. Hence the reason I keep talking. So great news is I stayed there for 8 days. Had a fantastic therapist, Dr. Matt Stanley, and I ended up getting out, and I have been sober since then. So it's been 15 years, and so suicide attempt, 15 years survivor, and 15 years of sobriety. And my great journey started that day I walked out that door, and the hope and the gratitude and the zest for life that I have. I've always had that zest, but now I really have a zest. And people thought I was a little cuckoo before. I'm really cuckoo now because I just love to make people smile. I love to bring out the best in other people. I love to make people welcome. And that's just part of my personality. It always has been. I guess my family is even kind of that way. So then I did go through a tough loss in my family. I had a brother pass away from a farming accident just west of Ethan. He was 56 years old and was underneath some hay bales. And so he also had 5 years of sobriety when he left this earth. And I'm not going to lie, grieving sucks. It has no timeline. But I tell you what, I'm so thankful for my sobriety because I got to feel. And when you're drinking, you don't feel. You numb the pain. And I was able to feel how fantastic and how much I loved this human because not everybody gets to feel that. Not everybody grieves and has the love that I had for my brother and the memories and the things, but also I could feel them because I wasn't drinking anymore. I was sober. Right. So I got to be there for my family. I got to be there for my dad and all the people and his kids and his girlfriend and the things and just so many great things that came out of my sobriety, even though that was a horrible situation. So then move ahead a little bit. I got a phone call from a good friend of mine in town, Emily Hone, and she was like, Lisa, the 437 project. I'm like, what is that? She's like, oh, they came through town this last year, and it was just the first year that they've done it, but they ran across the state of South Dakota for mental health and suicide prevention. I'm like, okay, and your point's what? And she's like, I think you should run. I think you should be on it. I put your name in. I told them they should call you. And I'm like, you bet. Absolutely, because mental health, physical atmosphere, I mean, I get to talk about mental health awareness and talk about my story. I mean, are you kidding me? Yes, sign me up. I didn't know the details. I didn't know anything else I had to do. But the crazy thing is she had no idea. She knew about my sobriety because I'm very transparent with that. I've spoken in different places and all over youth groups and what have you. So I'm very transparent with that part, but nobody knew about my suicide attempts. My husband did, but my kiddos didn't remember and didn't know that. They were not there to see me so that was all kept away from them. So I had the opportunity to meet. I said yes, obviously. So I had the opportunity to go over to Sioux Falls and watch my ascension, which is Emma applicants came in, I didn't put mine in, and I told them, Bill, if you get in a pinch, I'm always in shape, I'm ready to go. And when the names came out and they had a full list of 12 and I wasn't on there, I had a really tough time with that.
I'm sure.
I had poured 2 years of what really was flaming huge in my heart, right? So much of the whole thought of it. It was a big part of my life for 2 years.
Absolutely.
The fundraising, the making the connections, the speaking.
Just the training itself.
I mean, there's just so much in the camaraderie and
Absolutely.
being part of that big movement. I mean, it's huge.
It is so huge. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's so truly inspiring. Like,
It's unreal.
the lives that you guys could change just in those few days that you were stopping in all these small communities and people knowing who you were and what you were doing is just truly inspiring, like in ways you can't even explain.
And you don't realize, because people would come up to us and they'd be like, they tell us their stories of being listen, and they would thank us and cry and give donations, and it was like, man, we just wanted to hug them. It's like, I don't want to take your money because you're already leaving it.
You're already leaving,
They just wanted to support us so badly. So then once that kind of happened, I kind of got in a rut. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sure.
And I'm still helping out. I still do quite a bit with them. We and the NC when they come into town on Saturday through Mitchell.
That's awesome.
So that is where my 437 project ended. Like she said, ended, but my new journey started.
Absolutely.
So my nonprofit that I started myself is called Rooted 23.
I love that for you so much. It's so you.
It is really me. And when I talk about rooted, it's rooted in faith. It's rooted in your family, your history, your resilience, your roots. You're rooted. You're just rooted. You get those roots, but you also have the roots below, and you don't always have to show what's up here.
Exactly.
You just have that strong foundation below, and you don't always have to show it, but you can live it.
Yes.
And that is part of my other. I think you can talk the talk, but you need to walk the walk and live it and show it, the highs and the lows and be authentic. And then the 23 comes from Psalm 23, which would be my mom, who passed away 2.5 years ago from colon cancer, and that was her favorite prayer. And so, Rooted 23. And my true goal with the nonprofit is really just to do what I'm doing right now. Share my story, raw, the truth of what it is what it is, but show that it happens to anybody and everybody. We are all human. It's okay to not be okay. And just giving small items. My mom being in charge of 11 of us and on the farm, she was very frugal and she did a lot of shopping off the clearance racks. But it was just the coolest thing is because she would find these little items that most of the time had missing eyeballs or had something wrong with them. That's why they're on clearance. But she felt bad for them because she had a heart of gold.
She really did.
Oh my gosh. I mean, her heart was, I missed her terribly. So she would find these little items and then she would like open up her hand and then she'd like, I got something for you. And but it would be something that she picked up cheap a long time ago, but it was fitting for that moment. And that little thing, that little tiny little thing that cost hardly nothing, meant the world. And I just really firmly believe that that's just giving a simple free smile.
Absolutely.
Can totally change somebody's day and their outlook. And just really looking at them and giving them a genuine smile and looking in the face, the eyes.
Absolutely. I
And
love that.
yes. And, and so many times, people will ask me, what do you think is a good way to help somebody else that is hurting? And I'm like, just listen.
Absolutely.
Empathy. And in the My Ascension documentary, one of the things that the therapist says is get on the ground with them. Get on their level.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean get on the ground.
No, but connect.
Yes. And it's just action. Absolutely. And I feel, that's what I want to do. I want just people to understand that
it's okay to talk. And so
Absolutely.
find your group, find your niche, find the person that can hopefully you can confide in
Absolutely.
before it gets to a crisis.
Absolutely.
And I do a lot of that with my running still. I still run. I could, if I needed to, I could do the 437 project if I needed to. And I would be okay with that. I would be happy to join out. Now that would mean that somebody either got hurt or something happened, so I don't want to be joining
Right.
on that.
But it makes sense where you're coming from, because I mean, like you said, that was your baby for 2 years.
Yes.
You pretty much poured your blood, sweat, and tears into it.
Yep.
And then just those moments, probably being free, outrunning all of South Dakota and the experiences and everything else.
Yep.
It just kind of felt like, okay, I don't have this one big piece of me anymore, and it's gone.
There was nothing big.
There was nothing to look forward to
Correct.
anymore.
I shouldn't say big because my family is huge for me. I mean, I have the best family.
You really do.
I mean,
Your boys, your husband, they, like, honestly, watching their family interaction, you guys' family interaction is great. You are all there for each other. You always have each other's backs. And I think your boys have learned from the best support between you and Jeff.
We try.
Yeah. And those boys literally are the most, well, not behaved, but like the most, I watch them grow up, but they truly are the most genuine boys that I've ever met, that literally, if they saw someone struggling, just like I've seen you do, they would be there in a heartbeat, and they would be there ready to help.
And that is again being somebody a role model for those people.
Absolutely.
And you know, and again, it's not about me sharing my story. It's wanting other people to share theirs. And I'm not talking suicidal. I'm not talking addiction. I'm talking the days that maybe you're a student and you go to school and you got an F on a class, and that is humiliating. That's horrible.
Absolutely.
For some people, that is a crisis.
It sure is.
And so I'm not talking it to the extent of the levels of needing to, take your own life. I'm talking just simple daily things that affect people.
Right.
And so people need to be better at talking about that. And
Absolutely.
then other people need to be better off at recognizing it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think we just all need to step back
Take
and
a deep breath. Yeah.
Pause. That's a big thing.
It really is.
With the suicide prevention and the semicolon.
Yes.
I just love that because it's true.
Agreed.
There are things in my life now that I'm like, okay, is that really worth getting upset about?
Absolutely.
There's just so many things that I have learned again from being a recovering alcoholic. All these tools that I just am always, I think I'm just really excited because I want those that are still struggling to experience how freaking awesome it can be when you have a clear mind.
Absolutely. Just giving them that hope that eventually it does get better. They can get there, and life is better outside of drinking or whatever their addiction is. There's reasons to stay. There's people that want them here, and there's things to look forward to.
Absolutely. Because you are somebody's everything.
Absolutely.
There's somebody that needs you to stay and to be here.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I just recently, just with all the things going on, this too shall pass is become kind of something that I really.
It is so true, though.
It is. And, initially I was like, okay, you're thinking bad times.
Right.
But it's also all seasons.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
It is, and it's so true. It's like it's kind of become in the last couple of weeks has really made me realize
it just
that
sticks.
It does, because the good will fade.
Absolutely.
And there'll be more good coming.
Absolutely.
And so will the bad things.
Yes.
It's just all those
it's
things.
It's just a moment in time.
Yes. Yeah. But getting people to realize that is difficult. So
that is the hardest thing, like when you're going through your toughest times, to just take that second. And I mean, I'm grateful for my friends that are always like, it's not that bad, just take a breath. It's fine. So I'm a quick to panic person.
Absolutely.
And
I think we all are.
I think we all have those moments. But in that moment in time, that one little thing just seems to blow up, and then it's hard to just take a step back and be like, okay, it's gonna be fine. It's just a bump in the road. But then that moment when you finally do realize, like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You take that breath, you're like, okay. And then you get over it and you're like, I'm so glad I just took that step back.
Yep. My other thing that I always tell people is you still need to have friends that let you be in that slump.
Yes.
But they don't let you stay there.
Exactly.
Because I have some friends that have lost very significant people in their lives, and young people in their lives. And we don't see each other very often, but we have some really good rants on text messages.
I'm sure.
But we let each other just
have it out.
complain, and then we're like, okay. And then we always kind of say, hey, have a day.
Have a day.
It doesn't have to be a fantastic day or crazy. Just have a day.
Have a day.
Just have a day. If we're having a poopy, but you need people in your life to let you be angry. Because it's okay to be angry. I mean, you just got to make sure that you don't stay.
Right. You have to experience your emotions sometimes.
Absolutely.
I feel like as humans, that's why we were given them.
You betcha.
And without experiencing your emotions, because I am definitely one at times where I will just shut something down, and then it'll be weeks down the road and one little thing, and it'll just erupt. And then I'm like, well, why didn't I deal with this back then? And so.
And that poor person that you just blew up at gets
Exactly.
the repercussions.
Poor Tasha had to deal with that a couple times lately.
That's all mental health right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't have to be so dramatic. It is mental health and self-care and taking care of ourselves and surrounding our people.
Exactly. Finding your village.
It betcha.
It really takes a village to live life.
It does.
You need your support people. You need that time to yourself though too, but finding a happy balance.
Yeah.
Those people that are going to push you through and motivate you rather than the ones that are going to hold you back.
Yeah. Yep. And it's always interesting because people will, I think, see me. I shouldn't say that. I think they do. I've had people, you have great, you're so confident. And I'm like, I have the lowest self-esteem, and I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I still don't believe. I just don't believe I have anything special about me. I'm just me with pure talking. So my confidence level is not great. And I feel
like we all are kind of like that sometimes. Like, but to a completely different person, like I'll tell you, you're one of my biggest inspirations. Like, I mean, I've known you for all of these years. I knew you during parts of those hard times for you and how you arose from those dark times and what you're doing now. It's incredible.
Thank you.
And it just proves that there's a reason to just keep fighting and there is a better tomorrow.
Yeah. But the thing that I always think I need to remember is that it also took me 13 years truly to come to those terms of being okay with that. So
it's not something that happens overnight.
No. So when people think that, they go to 30-day treatment and they think they're going to walk out of there,
that's not how it works.
No, and it's like it doesn't work that way. And I think for some it does. I mean, there's some that don't need to go. There's some that can do everything on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But I always remind people it took me a long time to get where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
Never in a million years that I would think I'd be doing a podcast, nor running across the state of South Dakota.
Right.
Nor, doing things that I'm doing, never, ever in a million years. But I do know that I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
I don't know what tomorrow brings.
None of us do.
Well, I do know that I'm cheering on the 437 project as they go west.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be hanging over the viaduct in Mitchell.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I have to remind people, I want to call the 911 thing to make sure that they don't realize
that you're
I'm
not doing something
bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just call the non-emergent.
I'm going to have a big sign out there that's going to
call Nico Arnold and just be like, hey.
Yeah, there we go. Like, it is truly, I'm out there to cheer them on.
Yes.
So I know those things, but where this nonprofit is going to lead me, I couldn't tell you. I have absolutely no idea. I have goals and I have things in mind, but things have to fall into place.
Absolutely. And they will.
For now, it's just, if I can save, if one person is listening, and I can save that one person, then
absolutely.
I know I'm making him happy. I know I'm doing as well. I know that I'm doing things that have kept me here.
It just starts with one person. It starts with just one, and then it just ripples. And just like your idea too, like you have to start somewhere. Right. That's how we got where we're at. Like it just came with an idea, and we're like, we'll figure it out as we go.
And that's
kind of That's how you grow.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly right. I mean, you grow from your failures too, and so and I'm good at failing, and when I do, I just pretty much laugh at myself.
Exactly. We get a good laugh. I mean, it's how you pick yourself up, how you turn the situation around is what's going to make or break that situation. But if you can eventually turn around at the end of the day and be like, that happened. Okay, let's move on. You might have to stew about it for a few days, but you know, once you can get past that point, then you know it's going to get better.
Yes. Yep. It too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yes, it will.
Absolutely.
Do your people at home know that you have emus on the stage?
I don't know, but we should totally put that out there. But yes, we have 2 emus on the stage, and it's actually perfect because yes, Lisa's personality and these emus just really mesh very well together.
I think it's the big beak. I do have a big beak. It's my family heritage. We have big beaks. But
you have the most like enticing and like, I love your smile. Like, I see your smile and I want to smile, like I can't help but smile. And so.
And I will say that that's kind of that's my billboard.
Yeah.
Because I really do feel that that's free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I go to Walmart, I'm not going to lie, some of the greeters at Walmart love me.
Well, I mean, you smile more than half of them too.
That is true. That is probably true.
I don't think I've ever ran into a smiley greeter in the Walmart.
Yeah, that's true. That might be true. But they just, I mean, how can you just, isn't it hard to go through the day and be angry?
All the time.
And to have a frown on your face and be like, I mean, to me that's just horrible.
Absolutely.
Number one, nobody wants to be around you.
No.
Because you're grimacing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta choose to be happy.
Absolutely.
You make or break it every single day.
Absolutely. It definitely does start with your choice on how you want to. I will never forget on the high school announcements at Mitchell High every day was always ended. We do the Pledge of Allegiance and some sort of prayer, or like not a prayer, but just kind of like a quote. And then they would always say, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.
Exactly.
And that has always kind of stuck with me. Because I mean, you, at the end of the day, you're the one that makes the decision on how the day is going to go. People may affect it, but it's how you, at the end of the day, interpret it and deal with those situations.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying that, and sometimes I let it run my way, so.
Well, I think we're all guilty of that.
Yes.
Because, and I think social media plays a huge
Oh,
part.
it sure does.
So much of it, because there's days when I'll be like, oh man, what is so-and-so, and then I kind of get like bummed because I'm not doing the same thing.
Right.
It's like, you know, so it all plays a factor, and you don't even realize it. And there's times when I get up or looking at it, and I don't even realize I'm actually scrolling.
Right.
I mean, that's a really scary thing.
The doom scroll, or like the half awake scroll. I swear I do that
It's
more often than I should. Like, I go on to check something, or like, oh, I got a notification on Facebook or TikTok or something. So I go, and then before I know it, it's midnight, and I went to bed at 10 o'clock.
and how that affects your mental health. Think about that.
100%, yeah.
9 times out of 10, what you've done is just wasted 30 minutes on trash.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody's stuff is trash. I'm not saying
No,
that, but I'm just saying irrelevant things in your life when you could have been doing something that is a much more productive thing.
100%.
So again, mental health, and you regret doing that. You know,
Yes.
It's just, yeah, social media is scary. I'm glad
It is
kids
so-
are older.
It is
You know,
so
as far
scary.
as being, you know, they obviously are old enough now they can handle their own social media, but even when they had phones, they were younger, 8th grade, freshman, whereas a lot of that stuff wasn't out there yet.
Right.
So that was very new. I do not envy kids and parents in this day and age at all.
There's so many ways people can hack into things, and as kids things don't become kids things anymore. Like, it's scary.
And I'm gullible. I'm not gonna lie.
Same.
I mean, if I see it, because I love to trust people. That is who I am. I trust people, and I want to see the best in people.
Agreed.
So when people are posting things, I automatically believe it, because I'm like, why would anybody do anything different? Why would people make that crap up? You know?
Right. Exactly. Who's got the time?
Yes.
But then you're like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
that's not actually a thing,
Yep.
and you just fell into that trap.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's been such a pleasure having you on, and we really appreciate you sharing your story. I know it's not something that's easy to talk about, but thank you for being just completely vulnerable, because like we both agreed, it just takes one person to share their story to tell someone that, I went through what you went through. It may not be the same, but I'm living proof that I've made it, and it does get better, and there's hope.
The hope.
And so
hope is huge.
I am truly grateful that you're out here doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. You
Yes.
have no idea what you guys, anytime anybody asks me to speak, number one, I'm sorry when you give me a microphone because I love to talk.
No,
So
we
I
love
don't
it.
know what you're getting yourself into, but the other thing is it is such a reward for me and so important for my sobriety itself.
Absolutely.
Just repeating it and knowing that that's a place I never want to go to. I
Agreed.
never want to be in that place because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And just like everybody else, that one thing could break me again. And so I've always, every single day, I have to get up and remind myself of all the great things I have in my life. And my sobriety is the first thing.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm not sober, my faith is not going to be there.
Right.
My faith, my sobriety is
Not
not
gonna
there. So
be
those
there.
two things,
Those two things, yeah,
yes,
they really do.
they're huge for me.
When you lose one, it causes the other, and vice versa. I
And I
mean,
hate to say that they have to come before my family, but they do, because if I don't have those two
Right.
things, my family will not want
they
to be
does
right.
struggle. Yeah.
But the thing I always remind people is when they ask me this, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or however long we've been talking now, because I've been jabbering, you kept me sober for those. That
Absolutely.
hour, that 10 minutes, that 20 minutes.
Yes.
So that's another, 20 minutes or an hour added to my life. And hopefully make an impact on somebody else while I'm doing that.
Well, you definitely inspired us, truly. But I always like to ask this too, like, if there is one thing that you could tell someone that is struggling with addiction or struggling with mental health, or just one thing that you can help somebody with, or give a quote or something, what would you say?
I go with the whole you matter, I matter, we matter. Because there is somebody that in this life that needs you. And I don't care who you think you are. God put you here for a reason. And I don't know where your faith is at. That's what you gotta tell people. But He does not make junk.
Agreed.
This just in. So you're worth it. And you're worthy.
Absolutely.
But again, a lot of it is just letting that. I'll ask them the questions and let them talk.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we do here too, because you can't really get to know someone by asking all the questions. Sometimes it's better, just like we said, with anybody struggling, just letting them talk through their story, because maybe they're bottling all that up. You're finally the person they feel comfortable to talk to.
Absolutely.
And just talking it out can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Things you may not know have been bothering you for that long, you've now let it out, and now you might be able to just take a deep breath. And so, but anything else that you want to talk about or say? Let me ask this, where can you find or welcome back the 437 runners in the towns coming up here?
Got you. So tomorrow they're doing something new. They're going to leave from Avera Behavioral Health. That is something else that I guess I should remind people of. When we leave Sioux Falls, we congregate first at Avera Behavioral Health. Reminds you where my journey started.
Absolutely.
So it was really ironic that the
It comes full
437
circle.
project, yes, started there. We also ended the Levitt downtown. We end at the state line, but then we have the reception at the Levitt.
Yeah.
Last year, remember I said Dr. Matt Stanley?
Yes.
He no longer works for Avera Behavioral Health, but he works for Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a huge sponsor for the 437. Who do you think was the guest speaker?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him since I left there.
Oh, wow.
And so I went up to him afterwards and he said, I'm so glad you said something. He goes, because I never ever get to see the success stories.
Wow.
So that is such a huge moment in my life and just a reminder.
Absolutely.
And that's another reason why I share it, because those people that make the difference, just like in Avera, got to speak there, and all these people got to hear my story. And they're all part of why I'm here, because I spent a lot of time in the ER at Avera Behavioral Health.
Yes.
But anyway, so they'll start in Chamberlain, and then they have a reception on tomorrow night in Rapid City. And then they start out right away on Thursday morning, and they start at the state line out in the Belle Fourche area, and they make their trek across night and day, through all sorts of hills and wild animals and stars.
All the wild animals.
And during my time when I was running, I flipped off hay bales. My mom said it was okay because I'm mad.
You still would. Yeah.
I did. And the people in the RV were like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
And so then I finally had to tell them, well, the hay bales were what took my brother. And so I flipped the hay bales off. And my mom says it's fine.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's what you need to do to process it.
Absolutely.
You know?
And so there's sometimes I ride my bike and I do the same thing.
It's fine. It's how we process things. And there's no reason to feel ashamed because if that's how we have to process it, we have to process it.
Yep. So then they also stop at Pier, and they have a little reception there. That's with the Drifters, and that'll be on Friday. Saturday they stop in my hometown in Mitchell, and they will stop in front of the Corn Palace.
Absolutely.
7 o'clock. And we've got all sorts of fun things planned there. We've got mascots and all sorts of free giveaways.
Gotta get Cornelius out
We've
there.
got Cornelius coming up. I've got the Dakota Wesleyan
All the tigers.
and I have the Ethan, because I'm from Ethan.
Of course. I was just gonna ask.
Woolly Bully.
Woolly Bully.
Yeah, make a bulk is what it is. Which
Yeah.
is so fitting because you think
It's
the
so
437 project, it's a bison, so it's kind of the same
It's
thing.
close.
That's
It's close. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went to the state line where we finished at the Iowa-South Dakota border, and then they bus us back, and then we'll have a reception back at the Levitt. And so I'll be at all those places. I will not be in Pier in Rapid City, but I'm going to be at the other events to support them, and I'll be hanging on Blue Bridge, like I said too. So I got a big green neon sign.
If you see Lisa, she's totally out and just rooting out her team, and I'm so here for it. But
they are really part of my family. And they're part of my journey too. So.
But yes, come out if you're in any of those areas.
Yes,
come support them.
And they can donate online too.
Absolutely, yes.
437project.org. Go out there. You can't miss it. I mean, social media is crazy right now. They're sharing it, tons of it. But even if you can't support it, you don't have a dime to spare, just pray for them. Pray for them as they make their way across, because it is
a
treacherous.
trek. Yeah.
Well, it's treacherous too because not all of the people that are driving understand what we're doing.
Yes.
And
they're not quite paying attention.
You know, you think about everybody
That is
not paying
scary.
attention. It is. And there's wild dogs around there. And again, they're running through the middle of the night.
Yeah, and all the other creatures that you can encounter.
Absolutely. Yep. So stay prayer for. They're
Absolutely.
making a huge impact. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to have a whole lot of FOMO.
Yes.
A lot of FOMO.
I'll be thinking of you as they're running because I know that is hard when you're used to doing something and now it's gone.
Yep.
But I'm so proud of you for still like trying to assist where you can and being there for support.
You bet.
You know, you can help in other ways.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely stop on out, donate to the 437 project. And then how can we find Rooted 23 and how can we follow you?
Sure. I'm out on Rooted. It's Rooted 23 SD is my handle, and then www.rooted23.com. It is fairly fresh, so I'm just starting. It just started off in May, but I have made tremendous steps, and you know what?
You really
It's
have.
just one. Even if
It just takes one thing. But you should see her logo. It is cutest. It's a bright sunshine with a tree, and I think it just kind of tells her story. Like, we all start somewhere, we all have to grow, and there is a new day, no matter what happens. And so I'm just incredibly proud of your journey that you've overcome. And again, thank you so much for coming on out on the show.
I appreciate
and
you
sharing your
guys.
story.
Thank you.
But we will wrap it up there. But again, Lisa Larson, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and stay unscripted. I promise.
I'll have to listen back.
Yes.
I have to listen to this one.
It was good, I promise. It was so good.
Well, we think it's good, but
We kind of have a tradition.
Oh, crap.
you guys get there.
Yep, hold on.